Today, a large part of ThredUp's business has actually shifted, and they're actually selling that infrastructure back to the brands. Vestiaire Collective operates in luxury resale. So a customer might buy a designer bag, enjoy it for a few years, and then list it on Vestiaire. This platform then authenticates the item. It uses historical transaction data to optimize price and exposes it to and exposes the product to a global audience of buyers. Platforms like Vent take a slightly different angle. They're focusing on making everyday resale easier through mobile-first experiences. You can consider these platforms the front end of resale, so consumer-facing, making things easier and automating the process of consignment. But behind them are an entire ecosystem of infrastructure companies. So for example, Trove powers many brand-owned resale programs. Patagonia has a famous worn wear platform that runs on Trove's infrastructure and on their technology. Customers see the Patagonia experience, but Trove actually handles the intake, the refurbishment, the pricing, and resale operations, which is great because a lot of retailers and brands aren't really set up to do this, and having to white label this could be cumbersome. Then you have companies like Circular Resale. Now, Circular Resale functions almost like an operation system for consignment and thrift stores. So they work slightly different. Staff actually intake a garment, they photograph it, and they let the software suggest the pricing and automatically create a product listing synced to Shopify or to whatever point of sale system that a brand is using. When an item sells, the platform calculates the payout to the original consignment automatically. So this is helpful because it replaces things like spreadsheets and manual tracking with a real software backbone. Another fascinating player in this space is Threadline. Threadline pushes resale even earlier in the product lifecycle. I like this one because it's super forward thinking and it actually incorporates digital IDs. So brands can embed the digital IDs, often a QR code, directly into garments. Years later, a customer can scan that tag and instantly generate a resale listing with all the product information already filled in. Now, this is important for traceability, and we know that we have a lot of fakes and issues with products, who bought them when and where. So in some cases, the brands can even earn a percentage of that resale transaction, even years later. That introduces something incredibly important because for brands to truly benefit from resale, they need visibility into what happens to products after the first sale. Traceability allows brands to track how long garments stay in someone's closet in their possession, how long they stay in circulation, and then when they resell, what their value is, which could be really important for brands with their pricing strategy and even their production strategy. This kind of data can eventually influence how brands design products in that space altogether. Then there are companies like Super Circle. Super Circle manages the reverse logistics for circularity programs. So if a retailer runs a take-back campaign, for example, collecting used denim, Super Circle determines which garments should be resold, downcycled, or recycled into new fibers. It also generates reporting on material flows and emission reductions. Now, this is super important because if you watch my video about what went on in Ghana, then you'll understand the importance of having this type of technology when we're thinking about resale markets and the end life cycle of a product. And then finally, we have adjacent players that sit around the edges of resale. So companies like Extend and Croissant are very unique. Extend offers product protection and repair. If an item breaks, it can be repaired rather than discarded, and it remains usable longer and contains some resale value. And this is important. If you've ever worked in retail, you've noticed people might try stuff on and buttons pop, things happen, but this helps to extend the life cycle of that product versus just getting rid of it. Croissant is where resale meets fintech. So it allows retailers to show a guaranteed buyback value for certain products at checkout. So in other words, you might buy a handbag for $2,000, knowing that your platform will buy it back from you for $1,000 within a year. So that turns fashion purchases into something close to assets with future value. Now, this could be great because we all know that some people buy for things to last and maybe you want to hand it down to someone. And some people buy off impulse, or maybe you're just buying because you needed something in the moment. But if you put all of these technology and layers together, you start seeing an emerging retail staff.